Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Spiegel. I'm the CEO of Basel, and I'm here to talk about just this. NFTs in space, pioneering the lunar art frontier, all the way from the 60s during the space race up until now, actually last month, or now 45 days ago, where my company, Basel, was lucky enough to be part of this historic mission. We sent NFTs to the moon. Not metaphorically, actually sent NFTs to the moon. I'll get back to that at the end of this presentation. But I want to give a survey of art in space, physical art, digital art, NFTs, leading up to this moment. So enjoy. Technically, the first art in space was this Friendship 7 logo, which was launched on the Mercury missions in 1962. You can see here artist C.C. Bibby created this Friendship 7 logo that was technically the first ever branded artwork to leave Earth and go into orbit. The first artwork that was ever created in space was done by Russian astronaut Alexei Leonov in 1965. He was the first human to ever perform a spacewalk, which means leaving the spacecraft and walking in orbit. He was also an artist, and during his mission, he created this orbital sunrise drawing. Now, this has a funny story called the Moon Museum and a lot of lore around it. This was not an official payload, but Forrest Myers snuck this, apparently he snuck this small disc with Neil Armstrong to the moon in 1969. There are a lot of famous artists on this disc. If you look at the top left, you can even see Andy Warhol. He left his initials on there. If you look really closely, A.W. Some might say it's something else. But we do know that this is actually the first sculpture that made it to the moon by Paul van Hooijdonk. 1971, it is a plaque that has 14 names of astronauts who lost their lives exploring space. This is the Voyager Golden Records. In 1977, spearheaded by Carl Sagan, they created this time capsule of sort of the records, music, art, writings of the time, biology, DNA. And they strapped this to the two Voyager rockets, which left Earth in 1977 and are still actually orbiting our universe today. It's believed and approximated that these disk and the rocket left our galaxy in 2012. So these are actually the farthest known objects that mankind has ever created out in our universe. This is Eli Kurtz. In 1986, he inserted 4 oil paintings aboard the Columbia spacecraft that orbited the Earth 96 times, came back down to Earth. This was the first artwork. This is an actual painting to make it into orbit and then come back down. This is Cosmic Dancer in 1993, the first sculpture brought to the ISS and to experiment with microgravity. When Dreams Are Born was the winner of the first art contest held in space. This was aboard the Mir space station in 1995. This artwork was selected and kept on the station while the other 14 curated artworks were sent back down to Earth. This is still there today. Damien Hirst, and this piece is actually the first artwork to land on Mars. In 2003, the European Space Agency sent their mission to Mars, and this beautiful Damien Hirst piece was a part of it. Japanese astronaut Takuro Osaka experimented with light in zero gravity in 2013 with his spiral top art piece. Space Invader even made it to the ISS in 2015. Orbital Reflector was a project just 6 years ago that is supposed to mimic a star in space, but it is just artificial light. Enoch was launched on that same mission. This is a bust of Robert Lawrence, the first African-American astronaut. That is still floating around orbit right now. Exobiotonica was the first sculpture garden launched into orbit. The payload, or this I think it's a bonsai tree, only lasted for 2 hours, but there were 4 8K cameras connected to the structure that was launched to space, so it created these really beautiful imagery from our orbit of the garden evaporating. Luco Parmitano was the first DJ to ever perform in space at the European Space Agency in 2019. Sojourner was a project by 9 artists with the MIT Media Lab. This was brought to the ISS in 2020. Suborbital Triptych by Amoko Baofo flew on Blue Origin's mission in 2021 and came back down to Earth. He had 3 paintings here, one of his mother, one of himself. And those were the physical arts in space. Now I'm going to go into NFTs that have actually been launched or beamed to space. Does anyone here own an NFT that has been to space? One. Well, if you own Uku, the moon god, why not me? This was actually the first ever NFT sent into space. It was beamed from Houston to the ISS by Artemis Music Records, who talked here yesterday. This was officially the first NFT sent to space. It came back down, sold for $80,000, and was donated fully to charities. Dreambound M1 used that same technology to send many collections to space the year after. Collections like World of Women, different artwork from OpenSea and Magic Eden were part of this. They beamed it from Houston up to the International Space Station. Seeker by Dr. Siam Proctor. This was a physical art piece that traveled all the way down to the Mariana Trench and then joined her on her Inspiration 4 mission, which she was the first poet and African-American woman to go to space. So this artwork sold, and the NFT of this artwork was actually auctioned off at Bit Basel in 2021 for 22 ETH. I see here I only have a minute left, so I gotta speed through this. CL7 curated an awesome 0G artwork collection and then auctioned these off at Nifty Gateway. Axiom had 3 missions. The first one is the first NFT ever minted in space, Michael Keegan, Spacewalker. This is the first generative art project minted from the ISS. And then just a few months ago, 8 artists were chosen to go to the ISS with Axiom, and their pieces are now on sale at Nifty Gateway. But our artwork, just last month on the IM-1 mission, made it to the moon. And these are not just digital representations or, thank you. It's very exciting. Finally, we're on the moon. And the way that we did it, I think, is very impressive, using a nickel disc and etched into it with nanofish technology are 222 artists' work. So if you look very closely, I see there's some artists here on this mission in the audience. Their artwork can be seen very tinily on this disc that is right now connected to the Intuitive Machines lander on the moon. There was Space Blue, Arch Mission Foundation, Galactic Legacy Labs are the curators and owners of this payload. Bit Basel was lucky enough to be the curator of all the impact artwork on the mission, and we're also the exclusive and official marketing partner for the mission. Here's a party we had at Cape Canaveral. We got to watch a lot of people's first ever space launch on February 14th, 2023, Valentine's Day, and it actually landed on February 22nd, which is ironic because it was delayed for a year, and it landed on 2/22, and there's 222 artists on this mission. Not just emerging artists, we have hits from legendary Jimi Hendrix, Bob Marley, Elvis, never before heard records, and we've also lost the first Bitcoin ordinal onto the moon. We're pointing this out because Bit Basel's excited to be launching these in our new ordinals marketplace in the next 2 months. And overall, this is just what they call the new space economy. The universe is not just being explored by governments, but now brands like Bit Basel, but also brands like anyone out there, and not just brands, but artists, can now join the space race and explore our cosmos. If you want to learn more, there's going to be future missions for Lunar Prize. There's 3 of them planned for the next 3 years. Find me, reach out to us at Bit Basel, and see how you can be part of this lunar journey. Thank you.